Hey everybody, Star Wars Junkman back again. We're going to do some unboxing for you today. But before we do that, we're going to give a shout out to Malcolm. He runs the Hidden Woodsman, and he's the reason we're able to open this stuff today. If you're into hiking and backpacking, check out his website, thehiddenwoodsman.com. I'll put a link in the description below. But if you're into hiking and camping, he's got a lot of good camping gear on his website. Check it out. I'm sure you'll love it. So he sent us a box full of Star Wars stuff. I'm not going to show you everything today that he sent us. He sent us a lot of 90s comic books, a stamp collection that came through the post office, an R2-D2 little micro machine play set from the 90s, and a lot of other goodies. I was really impressed. So thank you, Malcolm, again for sending us that stuff. So again, thank you, Malcolm. It really means a lot that you sent it to us. First, I'm going to show you something that I probably pick on a lot, talk bad about, and I'm going to show you this right here. Malcolm sent us this, and I know what you're thinking. You're saying, what? It says, why are you making fun of a Greedo on card? This right here is a reproduction. And as you can see, it's a very good reproduction. It doesn't say reproduction anywhere on it, but anyone that does any time collecting, or anybody who really knows figures, once you hold it, I mean, it feels right. But once you kind of see the quality of the cardboard and the bubbles are a lot thinner feeling than the normal vintage. It's more square. You can just tell and the quality of the print is a little off. So if you know what you're doing, if you know vintage, if it's not your first figure, you'll be able to figure it out pretty easy. Now, like I said, the problem with reproductions for me is I'll pass away and somebody will take this, like one of my kids might think it's real and throw it with my rest of my collection. Now I know what you're saying, it's up to the buyer to be able to tell all that, but I just don't like reproductions. To me, it's just like making counterfeit. But I just wanted to share it. I'll take some pictures to show everything a little better. But that's it right there. We're not going to open it. I'm going to mark on it reproduction. I haven't decided where yet because, you know, like I said, I don't really like reproductions, and I don't want it to come off as a real thing if I pass away or my kids don't know, or my kids or somebody else sells my stuff one day. I don't want it to fool somebody. Yes, maybe they just saw, you know, maybe my family just took a picture of all my figures together, and it's hard to tell in a picture sometimes what's real and what's not. So I just wanted to thank Malcolm for sending us this. I know, like I said, I rag on reproductions, but you know, it doesn't look bad for your collection. I'll give the people that make the reproductions that. If you can't afford, you know, I think a Greedo on this card is going to run you close to $1,000. So it's kind of neat just to have. Maybe if they just wrote reproduction real big right there, or somewhere on the front where you can really tell easy and fast. You know, if you can tell right when you look at it, that's a different thing. But thank you again, Malcolm, for sending that. But he did send us some real Kenner Star Wars figures. So I just wanted to show these to you real quick. He sent us a Gamorrean Guard, and let me put the reproduction next to it. I don't know if the camera will pick up anything, if you can tell. See, you can't really tell probably from looking at the cards. But he sent us a Gamorrean Guard, and I want to thank him again. I've never had this one on card. It's a good card. The bubble's a little yellowing, but that comes in times. It's hard to find. As older these toys get, it's harder to find with a clearer bubble. But luckily, there's some clear ones out there. But it's not too yellow where you can't see the figure. I've seen one. I saw a Honda Carbonite that was so yellow that you couldn't even see what figure was on the card. So thank you again. That's a real good looking figure. And another one he sent us was Claytu. This is the Skiff Guard Claytu. Again, it's the 77 back, just like the Gamorrean Guard. The bubble's slightly yellow, not as yellow as the other one, but still. See, it's not, I mean, you can still see the figure really good. So it's a really good looking card and everything. So, thank you again for sending that. But what I want to talk to you about now is the 2010 Hasbro Vintage Star Wars figure. That's right. If you all know, I'm sure you do, in 1979, Kenner promised us a rocket firing Boba Fett. But as you all know, it was never shipped out. We never had it. Due to safety concerns, they went back in and glued the rocket in, and we got this guy. This is the Kenner Vintage Boba Fett. Got him out so we can kind of compare the two figures. But in 2010, Hasbro didn't re-release. They made a vintage style figure with a rocket launcher on the back. kind of fulfilling that promise that Kenner made, you know, almost 40 years ago. And it's in this box. And being that I had 2 of them already, I put a poll up on Twitter. Should I open it on a video or just leave it on card? Everyone wanted me to open it, so I'm going to open it. And my son loves my vintage Boba Fett, but I won't let him play with it. He does have one that's real, kind of a beater. It's kind of loose he plays with. But I thought I'll open it and give it to my son to play with. He'll enjoy it more than me just sitting it up on a shelf somewhere with another one I already have in a box. And I've always been curious of how it looks out of the package because I've never seen one loose. So again, this is the shipper box that came in right here. So let's open this up. And if you're curious, I've looked on eBay. These in the box are running for $50 to $60. Loose, it's going to cost you between $20 and $30 mostly. Okay, so you pull it out and you got another white box. This is standard boxes. Almost every Hasbro figure that's shipped comes in a box like this. As you can see down here, it says rocket firing Boba Fett down at the bottom. So it was kind of neat to go back and make a vintage figure and kind of fulfill that promise that Kenner made years ago. Although it is a little different than the figure we would have got. The rocket is a little bigger. And I'm not sure. I haven't seen it open, so I'm not really sure yet either. But let's take a look. There you go. And you can see it looks just like a vintage figure. Let me get that a little closer for you. And like I said, we'll take some pictures and get a better view of it. But you can see it looks like a vintage figure. But the back of the card, it's not a 12 back or 21 back or anything. It's just the vintage collection right there on the back. So let's take this guy out of his box and compare him to the original and see how they look right here. I kind of feel funny opening it, but ew. Actually, this is the one. This isn't the one Malcolm gave me. Actually, his looks a little more pristine. His looked a little bit better than mine did. So, well, let's take a look and open him up. I'm trying to leave the bubble intact some. I always like to leave my bubble on the card. I don't know why, but that's just something I always like to do. So, it's very detailed. Looks just like a vintage figure from here. Let me take him out and then we'll see how closely he looks like a vintage figure out of the package. Come on, get out of there. Man, they got him in there good. Wow, I'm impressed at how much it looks. It's a little taller. If you can see that right there, it's a little taller than the vintage figure. The backpack looks like it might be a little wider. Like I said, I'll get some good pictures. The color, this one seems a little lighter blue than this one. And here's the thing. It looks like just a regular rocket firing on the back right there, but if I'm right, this doesn't shoot out. This little rocket doesn't fire out. I guess they didn't want anyone to get choked with it. You have to take this out, and it goes in its back. And I'm just curious what the copyright says on it. It's got a number right there printed real big that the other one doesn't have. I'm very impressed with how good it looks. As you can see, that's what the rocket that shoots out looks like. It's a lot longer than the display rocket. And let's just see how it does. Well, that doesn't shoot out too easy. Let's see, is there a J slot? No, let's just see how it does. Well, I can't even get it to shoot out, so I guess no kid's going to choke on this. Well, that's surprising right there. Maybe, oh! You pushed a button. I thought it was going to be like the vintage. The vintage is what they call a J slot, where you slide it, but that's just a push. And then again, you put this little one's for display. I don't think it shoots off. No, it doesn't shoot off. So there you go. Let's talk about the gun. Let's see how different it is compared to the... Man, they got this thing packed in there good. Look at that. They got his gun wrapped in there good. Give me just a second to get that out. Okay. That looks like a vintage weapon. If I saw this on eBay, I wouldn't know the difference, especially by just looking at it. Like I said, I know that camera can't pick that up, so I'll take the pictures of it. But it's a little more rubbery, I think, than the real gun that came with Boba Fett. It doesn't look like it fits in his hand as good either. So again, let's put them right there. Here, I'll get them closer to the camera. And see, you can kind of tell which one is which. This is the Hasbro. This is the Kenner. This is the Hasbro. Right there. Show the back of them. So it's pretty cool. If you always wanted a vintage firing, if you already wanted the old Kenner rocket firing, which I know there's some out there. There's some prototypes that got out there, but you're going to spend a lot of money for it. This is not a bad way to go if you just want one for your collection to kind of sit up on the shelf. And it looks really good. Again, I'm really surprised at the detail that they copied so much. And I'm glad they made it a little taller. See, I wouldn't mind Kenner doing something more like this. Maybe a Tarkin or something we didn't get as a mail away that looks vintage like this. But it looks really good. And again, now that I know how to do the rocket, let's try it again. Let's take the little one out. And let's put the big one in. Now, I don't really like this. I understand why they did it with the big rocket, but it looks kind of silly. So, let's bend him over and just push the button. There you go. That's the rocket firing Boba Fett from Hasbro 2010. We'll put him back in his little nifty case right there. Again, thank you, Malcolm, for sending us this stuff. And again, if you're into hiking and camping and you need a good, sturdy backpack, check out thehiddenwoodsman.com. Again, down in the description, we'll have a link and all that. But I just want to give a big shout out to him for sending this stuff. It really means a lot that he sent it to us. He's a great guy from talking to him. So again, thank you, Malcolm, for sending us that box. Again, we have the Clay 2 on card. We have the Grimornian Guard. We had the reproduction. But I still kind of like it. I know I brag on reproductions. I don't believe in buying them and selling them. Like I said, I'm going to mark up here somewhere real big that's reproduction. That way, if anything ever happens to me and some of my kids or grandkids or whatever down the line does sell it in a bulk collection, anyone looking at it's going to be able to tell it's not real. And again, he sent us the 2010 Boba Fett, and we opened it up, and that's how it looks right there. Again, I'm very impressed with the details of how much it looks like a vintage figure, other than being a little taller and the color being a little slightly lighter on the vintage. I can't really tell from just glancing at it much of a difference. So I know I rag on Hasbro a lot. That's good. I wish they would do more stuff like this. So if you're out there, if anybody with Hasbro out there listening, give us something else. Give us maybe a vintage looking Tarkin, or some vintage figure, maybe a Han and Stormtrooper, something we didn't get back in the day, and do it as a mail away again. I think it'd be a really neat thing. But thank you, Hasbro, for at least keeping that promise that Kenner made to us, almost 40 years ago. Again, thank you for watching. This is Star Wars Junk. I'm the Junk Man, opening in junk, and thank you for watching.